Hello, everyone. Welcome to On the Hunt with Alpen Optics. I'm your host, Lonnie Robinson, along with Rick White. Tonight, we have a very special guest, Miss Brenda Valentine, the First Lady of Hunting. And remember to stay tuned for our special this evening, one of the very best specials we've had. Hey, Rick, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, we've got one of your very special friends on tonight, Miss Brenda Valentine. I'm going to let you talk to her right fast.
Well, Brenda, first of all, we're glad to have you on the show. How are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm wonderful, Rick. I have to add a little something. I'm from Tennessee, and we don't talk right fast.
Well, you also probably
We
don't
talk slow.
And I understand you got a little bit of snow down there. Is that what I heard?
Oh, yes. And I know that is disgusting to you to see people like us get so excited when we have a few flurries. There's none on the ground, but, you know, it was good for a bread and milk run anyway. But, you know, it came down. It looked pretty. It was gone. I'm like a kid. I get excited at the first flakes because we don't get much.
You know, I want to tell a quick Brenda Valentine story. Brenda, I don't know if you'll.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and this is a good story. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but, you know, I've been in the hunting industry for quite a few years myself. And when I was quite a bit younger and in the industry, I was always, my anniversary was always May 1st. And it didn't matter where I was, my wife would always figure out a way to send me a rose that I wore. And you were about the only one that ever came up to me it's May 1st, every time we were at a show together and asked me about my rose. And I remember that. And that was years and years back. I don't know if you remember that, but that was the first time I met you is when you came up and asked me about my rose.
Well, thank you for sharing that. No, I do not remember it, but you know, that's just a good example of how just little things reaching out to other people can sometimes make an impact.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, you and I have had the chance to hunt together and we've had a great time, but I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and you really anything that you want to talk about. But you know what? It was tough when you got into the hunting industry. I mean, the hunting industry years ago was tough to begin with, but especially for you, I think, and maybe you have a story to tell.
Well, you know, I do admit to being a pioneer in this hunting industry as far as women are concerned. And yes, it was tough. There's always been very good women hunters, good shots, you know, good woodsmen, but they weren't recognized and they weren't actually allowed in the industry. And when I came along, I don't know that I'm any more special than anybody else, but I believe it was all in timing. Perhaps the industry was ready to allow women in and embrace them. So, you know, I also think it was partly economics too, because the era of women having their own money and spending it like they wanted to, and tired perhaps of not having much choice of equipment, clothing, the whole gamut of things that we needed. You know, that was another customer base, and many of the bigger companies began to realize that our numbers were growing and we were spending money and we wanted guns that fit us. We wanted bows, we wanted boots, all of it. So it pleases me to have been part of that movement and to see it succeed like it has.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of women now compared to what there used to be. And a lot of them have their own shows and things like that as well. But, you know, I remember you mainly, you know, you were obviously on the Bass Pro staff for years. You were spokesperson for NWTF, but I know there's lots of other accomplishments you made. Maybe you want to touch on that.
Well, I'm not really one to go around and pound my chest on accomplishments. A few things that I'm especially proud of. I was asked to go to Southeast Asia a few years ago to take goodwill from the hunting and fishing community to our troops on the front line in Afghanistan and other places. I was selected by a staff at the Pentagon to do this, and it'll be an honor the rest of my life to go into some of the special forces camps and just talk to those guys and wish them well. And, you know, that was a huge honor for me. I've been inducted into several halls of fame. One, the Tennessee Turkey Hunters, which that made that made me feel good that they would recognize a woman as one of their top turkey hunters. And then the Legends of the Outdoors, you know, everybody's heard of that. And I was the first lady inducted into that when they put women in. I guess it was the second year that it was in existence. And you know, for shooting my bow, you know, into Sports Hall of Fame and some of that stuff, you know, it's nice, but you can't let things like that go to your head. You just got to be who you are and not forget where you come from. So I'll always be just this country lady from Tennessee that, you know, I'm out here stomping through the mud at the barn or cranking up the tractor or whatever, you know, that's who I really am.
Miss Brenda.
I know, yeah, and I know you're eagerly waiting for turkey season, and you know, I know that I certainly am. But right now, I understand you've been hunting quite a bit and squirrel hunting on top of that, but you do it a little differently than I do here in the Midwest. So you know, why don't you let the viewers know what you go through on an average day in the squirrel woods?
Do you really think I want to give away all my secrets? You know, hunters
well, we need a few of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen some pictures of you hunting off of a horse, squirrel hunting off a horse, and turkey hunting off a horse.
Well, that's what happens when you get too lazy to walk. You know, you just ride.
Right now, we're looking at looks like 2 paint horses. You're standing there with several squirrel with a couple of gentlemen on the horses.
One of those is my husband, and the other one is a friend that I've known since I was probably 4 or 5 years old. His father and my father used to coon hunt together. But yeah, somebody had to get off and pick up the squirrels, and we had a heavy load that day. But, you know, there's a season between deer season and turkey season, and that's called squirrel season here. You know, the very first thing I ever shot was a squirrel, and I was 4 years old. My dad was probably the best woodsman I've ever known, and we ate squirrels like most people eat chicken. You know, that was just an everyday fare. So I've come back to it. Well, I mean, we've always squirrel hunted some, but now we are squirrel hunting with dogs from a horseback, and we can cover a lot of ground. You know, the leaves are off now, and we depend on these dogs to find them. They're specially bred to, you know, locate the squirrels in tree, and sometimes they're in den trees, but our horses, they've gotten used to this. You know, the minute that the dogs tree someplace, we're off and going and finding them at the tree. And, you know, I was asked earlier, could we shoot off the horses? Yes. You know, our horses are calm at this. And actually, we're riding some real young horses, 2 and a 3-year-old, and they're tolerant of all of it. But even if you do shoot off the horse, somebody's got to get off and pick up the squirrel. So,
and now we're looking at the picture. You said earlier this is your Tennessee Walker, and you got a big turkey stretched over the side of him there.
Not every horse will tolerate a dead animal flopping off of it, but yes, this mare was just fine. I could throw anything on her, including a dead turkey, and just hang it over the horn and bring it on back to the house. So it allows me to enjoy two of my lifelong passions, and that's riding horses and hunting. So I try to combine the two anytime I can. And having the dog element in there is just a huge bonus, because I'm a big dog lover. We've always had hounds, and now, we're into these mountain curs, or, just any kind of a hunting dog has my attention quick. So,
When I was young, I was going to say, when I was young, I mean, I squirrel hunted all the time. And at least in my area, I don't really know all that many people that squirrel hunt anymore. It's kind of almost like a dying art, so to speak. But one of the things that people always ask me, and I was never really good at this, my mom was, but briefly, what's one of your favorite ways to cook and eat squirrels?
Well, like I said, anything you can do with a chicken, you can do with a squirrel. The young, tenderer squirrels are just best battered and fried, with biscuits and gravy and mashed potatoes, and just like you'd have fried chicken. But sometimes we get those old tough squirrels, that maybe a big old fox squirrel or something, and either pressure it or just boil it tender and have dumplings. You can do anything with squirrel meat. It's as versatile as our wild turkey, and that's a staple at our house, and I know it is yours too.
Yep. Now, I think they've got a photo of a caribou with an airplane. Touch on that.
That was one of our Redhead Pro Team trips, where we went caribou hunting up in northern Quebec, and I was successful, killed a couple of nice caribou with bow, and that was the float plane coming to pick us up. They dropped us off, and we'd been up there, I don't know, week and a half or so, out on the island, and we just had to pack up all our gear, gather up the meat, gather up the racks, and head out. And it was a cool shot. Somebody just happened to get the shot when the float plane was coming in to pick me up. I had my bow and stuff there ready.
What would you say is maybe one of your, I know you have lots of them, but what's one of your most memorable hunts, or maybe a hunt that meant more to you than perhaps some of the others?
Do I have to just do one?
Yeah, well, you can do as many as you want.
One,
I know you probably have.
Well, we don't have that much time. One of my bucket list things was to kill a Cape buffalo. I've always, I don't know why, and I guess it was because I read a lot of Capstick, and it was the danger element there, and that just impossibility of doing it. And I wanted to do it with my bow and arrow. So, I worked at building up bow poundage and kinetic energy and all the things involved in it, and getting a permit to go after this dangerous game with my bow. And I was successful in one arrow kill on a huge Cape buffalo bull. So that will always be one of those hunts where I felt like I really got to test my grit.
Hey,
Yeah.
This is Paul, the director. We have a question from Michael D. Giovanni. Brenda, what's your favorite weapon for squirrel?
A 22, a little Ruger 1022.
Awesome.
There you go.
Miss Brenda, I touched on
Yeah.
it when I introduced you right at the first, as the First Lady of Hunting. Can you tell us something how you got that title?
Yes, I was speaking at the Bass Pro Shop in Springfield, Missouri, and a radio announcer that we all have heard was the MC, and he just rolled it out of his mouth. He just said that, and none of us had ever heard that. And I'm thinking, where'd this come from? And it stuck. It's stuck tight for a long time. And so I finally trademarked it, and we use it for, different advertising avenues, but I've owned that for a long time.
Well, it fits you very well, Miss Brenda. And I
Thank
want
you.
to say congratulations to the gentleman that told you that, because he was spot on target with that one.
Well, you know how some of these TV hosts and radio announcers are. They
Hi,
have to
Rick.
be quick on, they have to be fast on their feet, and he was just up on stage and it just rolled out of his mouth. So we went with it.
I know you and I and lots of others are one of the goals that we both try to achieve in the outdoor industry is getting new hunters involved in the outdoors, especially kids and even more so women nowadays. But is there a message you have to women that could maybe get them out of the house and out into the woods?
I've always, it seems like I've been teaching women for the last 25 years. And the first thing I tell them is being a woman is no handicap. The only handicap for them in the outdoors are those they place on themselves.
Yeah.
So.
And I know there's lots of places they can go if they have no hunting experience or gun handling experience. There's every state pretty much has some type of an organization, and I think they could contact their local Department of Natural Resources, and they could guide them to a spot where they could learn this stuff. And boy, I tell kids all the time, you've got to at least get out and try it. And I've always said this in my seminars. I see these kids getting in trouble in school, and I'll just about bet you they've never spent one day in the woods. So just that reason, along with hundreds of others, we owe it to get kids involved in the outdoors, whether it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, camping, hunting, fishing, you name it. We really need to get them in the outdoors.
One thing that really warms my heart is when I see a single mother taking their kids to hunter education to get certified, or bringing them to some of the Jake's events or different clinics for kids and staying and enjoying it themselves. And I've had so many women tell me that it means so much to them for their kids to hunt. And so they bring them, they accompany them, they are part of the whole program. And so, when you see that, you're making a difference.
Well, hey, Rick, Brenda told us a little recipe a while ago. What about your recipes? You've been promising us a turkey recipe.
About a turkey recipe that I had, and we ran out of time, so I told everybody I would share it this week. Now I have lots of recipes, but this is one of my favorites, and I'm sure Brenda's probably had something similar. But so you take your wild turkey breast, okay, and you cut it up into chunks or slices, whatever you want to do, but marinate it in buttermilk at least overnight, if not for a day or more. Buttermilk naturally tenderizes and it gives it a great flavor. Okay, then roll it in flour and add then I go ahead and fry it, and I fry it in peanut oil or cottonseed oil. And that to me is important. Okay, it's a healthier oil, but it also cooks better. Okay, so then once it's fried, I take it out, put it on a plate with some paper towels, and add your favorite spices. And one of my favorite spices are Cracker Boy spices or Everglades, which you can get down in Florida. Two great spices, but really any spices you want. But the buttermilk is the secret. Fry it in hot oil so it fries good, and it is absolutely fabulous. Brenda, you probably had recipes similar to that, I'm sure.
That is what we do in hunt camp. When we bring in that first turkey, that breast becomes, the turkey fries all over the place. Yes, it's very similar to yours, only I didn't know to put the spices on afterwards. I just mix it with the flour and go, but I like your idea.
Yeah, the reason for that is the spices will actually stick to the turkey breast better, because if you fry it, a lot of it fries off. So I'll do it afterwards.
Sounds good.
But I got a message here from Paul. Time to move the recipes. I already got that one. So anyways, okay, well, listen, Brenda, why don't you hang on for a minute? I'm going to talk about a few things, and if you've got some recommendations on what I'm talking about, please chime in. But one of the things they wanted me to touch on, or I was going to touch on this evening, was late season scouting, because in most states, or a lot of states, deer season's over or ending soon. And, you know, I've mentioned this before. A lot of people will go out and take their trail cameras down as soon as they're done deer hunting. Well, I actually leave mine up after deer season, maybe not throughout the whole year, but I leave it up for at least another month. And of course, we've got snow here in the Midwest. So I do a lot of late season scouting, because it's real easy for me to tell what the deer are doing this time of year just by the trails in the snow. But it shows the bedding areas really clearly, the food sources, which, you know, food sources in Iowa aren't hard to find, where down where you're from in Tennessee, if you don't have a good acorn crop, you got to do a little bit more searching and figuring out what they're eating on. But I do a lot of late season scouting, and I rely on my trail cams, and again, multiple trail cams, to tell me where they're spending a lot of time and what their travel routes are. And I can also go out this time of year and pick a really good tree stand location, because maybe the deer movement's changed a little bit from the year before, and I'll pick out a tree right now for next season. What's your thoughts on some of that?
Excellent thoughts. I pick out my trees this time of year too. It's so much easier with the leaves off, and the trails are so much more obvious, you know, with the mud and the ground soft and everything. This is another benefit of the squirrel hunting on the horses. I'm constantly looking at the ground, finding old rubs, and gathering all the pieces to the puzzle while I'm out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, shed hunting becomes real popular this time of the year. And like you said, if you're out squirrel hunting, our squirrel season goes out the end of this month, but our rabbit season stays open until the end of February. So really, anytime you're in the woods for whatever reason, and I mentioned last week, I tap my maple trees. So I got a new, some woods that I'm going to tap this year that I haven't tapped before. So here soon, I'll get out and take a walk around and try to figure out what trees I've got and how many I'm going to tap and that kind of thing. So whenever you're doing any of that stuff, you can be scouting. I think we've got about 8 more minutes on the show. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming turkey season, because squirrel season's going on, but we really live to turkey hunt. I know you do too. And let's talk a little Tennessee turkey hunt. It starts the 5th of April, I believe, this year down there.
The weekend before is our juvenile hunt. They always open that the last weekend of March, and then it's game on. I'm fortunate to live in a state where we have liberal bag limits. It was 4 gobblers forever. They've cut it back to 3 now, which is plenty. Some of the numbers had started going down, so, you know, to keep the flock in a healthy state, they eliminated one of the gobblers, but that's fine. And I know you travel all over. I mean, you're just everywhere whenever.
Yep, we lost Brenda. There she's back.
I think I'm back. I had a call coming in, and I don't know how to stop
you're
that.
Good. You're good.
Okay, but you know, I'm sure you have a full calendar of everywhere you're planning on going. One of the best things that I know how to describe the turkey season for me is hunting my own farm. You know, I watch these turkeys year round. I try to provide good habitat for them. I keep a eye out for them, and it's fun to hunt your own turkey. And then when my season is, or when I have filled my tags, then I like to go and hunt other states. It's fun to travel and hunt turkeys here, there, and everywhere, but it's especially fun for me to hunt on my own farm.
What's one of your favorite turkey guns? I mean, what are you shooting this year?
Well, you know, I guess last year when you and I hunted together, I had just gone to a 20 gauge. I'd had shoulder surgery, and I'd always shot 12 gauge with and I even went up to a 3.5-inch Magnums, and it would just jar my teeth loose. But after I had shoulder surgery, I went to a 20, and I felt like I was going to be a little bit undergunned for a while, I guess, because I'd always used a bigger gun. Heck no, that thing, I had the range, I had the knockdown. You and I were hunting together up in Missouri, and you saw how effective that thing was. I mean, I am a true believer in this 20 gauge now. I'm liking it. This will be my second or third year on it, and I have no intentions of changing. It's done everything I would want a gun to do. So a lot of people are going to these 410s.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's beginning to be very popular hunting turkeys with a 410.
Mhm.
Now here in Iowa, unless it changes, it's not legal. 20 gauges is as small as you can go.
And some of the states where I go, center fire is legal, and I'm not into that. It's fine if somebody wants to do it, but I'm pretty much a traditionalist, and I just like to try to get the turkeys in as close as possible, and I'm very content with my setup now.
Yeah, center fire seems very unsportsmanlike to me. That just doesn't seem right.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many. I remember, and I know we're getting towards the end of the show here, but
yeah.
I remember a hunt that I did years ago. My grandfather was in World War II, and when he
Mine was too.
Yep, and when he came back from the war, he brought back a Belgium A5 Browning 12 gauge with a fixed choke that my dad was handed down to my dad, and he shot. Of course, in Iowa, we can only hunt deer with slugs. And he shot many, many slugs out of that gun, full choke, which is not recommended. So I'm sure, blew the choke out, but I wanted to shoot it. It had never shot a turkey ever. And when my dad passed away, I got the gun. And so it's a sentimental gun to begin with. But I went out and patterned that gun. And in all honesty, it didn't pattern all that well, and I think that's because the choke had been pretty much shot out of it with the slugs. But I knew that I could take a turkey at 20 yards or less, maybe 30 yards or less, and I went out and shot a turkey with it that year, and then I just put it away. So I was able to take a sentimental gun and shoot a turkey. And
we're about to run out of time here, Rick.
Okay,
you want to tell us about the special tonight? I got it right here in front of me.
Okay, well, the special tonight, and we talked about it, when it comes time for scouting, and there's so many other reasons, but it's the Bresser Trail Cam. Okay, now this has date and time, comes with a 4 gig SD card, has all the settings, moon phases, speed settings, motion settings, everything you want. It normally sells, regular price is $69.99. So that's regular price. We're going to sell on the show a special between now and the end of Sunday, a 3-pack of those cameras for $80. That's less than half price.
Now, 3 of them.
Yeah. So now all you got to do is go to BresserUSA.com and go ahead and order 3 cameras. And then in the promo code, all you have to do is put in lowercase with no spacing on the hunt, and it will give you the discount. So again, $69.99 per camera, regular price, show special, 3 for $80. And you know what? They're great. They're great cameras. And it actually has a screen on the camera that you can view your photos if you want, or once you turn it on for 30 seconds, it'll show you a picture of what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's day and night. Tree strap comes with it. The only thing you're going to need to do is put batteries in it.
And let me add that the batteries last longer in these cameras than any cameras I've used. I mean, months go by and the batteries are still good in these cameras.
Yeah, you'll get a whole season, if not a season and a half, out of the batteries.
It's amazing.
So,
yeah.
Take it away, Lonnie.
So you have to,
okay.
This is Paul again. So you have to add 3 of them to the cart before the code will work.
Yes, you got to put,
Yes, yeah, you
order
have to have
3 of the
3 single
cameras at
cameras. Yeah, order 3
$69 a piece.
cameras.
And in the code, when you put on the hunt, you'll get the sale price of $80 for a total of 3 cameras.
Yeah, and it comes with the SD card. Hey, there's not a better, for the money, not a better camera out there in all honesty.
You could not beat that deal with a crooked stick. Let me tell you, that is a deal.
No, you cannot. And we don't talk like that up here either.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand you folks down there, but I got it. I got it.
We'll have an interpreter.
Hey, Rick, tell us about next week's guest, too, while you're here.
Lance I'm trying to say this name, McCutcheon, I believe. Lance was an employee at Bresser and Alpen there for years. He's a tech guy. We're going to talk tech. He knows everything about everything that goes into optics. So we're going to pick his brain on some things, talk about what scopes he recommends for certain guns, what optics he likes for close-up viewing versus long-distance viewing, and so he's going to be on the show.
Yeah, I've got to meet Lance, got to be good friends with Lance. And he is a very technical guy, knows all about the coatings on these lenses, and all that, like you said, Rick. Okay, Miss Brenda, it is a very good and a very honored pleasure to meet you tonight. And Rick, as always, I'm glad you're here.
All right, well, we had a good time.
Well, it's been a fun show with you guys.
Well, see you all next week.
All right, take care.
You know, good optics are a must for a hunter. The new Alpen Tetons. They're lighter, they're better in low light, excellent glass. You'll be hard pressed to find that glass for under $1,000. Everything that you would want in a pair of optics. I know what I'm looking for, and once I know what I'm looking for and find what it is, that's what I'm interested in buying. The bottom line is they're affordable, they're lighter, and they're great in low light. The new Alpen Tetons. Another deer coming out. You know, good optics are a must for a hunter, particularly binoculars, not only during hunting season, but times like this when it's time to start scouting. But there's one thing you need to do when you get your binoculars that a lot of people don't realize. You need to set them up for yourself. Everybody's eyes are a little bit different. And here's how I do it. It's simple and easy. Is take the binoculars and just kind of grab good focus on an object. And I go and put my hand over the left lens. The diopter ring, which is on the right side, I will go ahead and adjust that until that right eye is in focus. Once it is, I take the hand off the other side, both eyes in focus, and you're ready to go. It's simple and easy, and it's a must that you do this before you go out and use them.